Oh, wow. Sorry about that. I am running a couple minutes behind. I didn't realize it was already 2 o'clock. Wow. All right, let's get it live on Facebook. Hopefully that will work out. I was just writing up my notes and getting involved in all of the, details of making sure I had everything in place in time for the Thriving Live show. And I missed the start of the Thriving Live show at 2 o'clock. But here we are. And we are now streaming live on Facebook. And if you are tuning in on Facebook, I would love to know that you're here and just say hi. Got the live chat open over here on the right. I have my notes over here on the left. And welcome. Thank you so much for being here and popping in, either watching this later on YouTube or on Facebook, or if you're here live. I can't wait for you to say hi and to tune in. And if you are wanting to jump on to the actual call and participate in the actual call, all you have to do is go to bit.ly. Yeah, just go to the bit.ly link, bit.ly/thriving live, all one word, bit.ly/thriving live, bit.ly thriving live. And that would get you right into the queue for being registered for this particular call, as well as access to all the future calls, which are, as I have it planned now, for Tuesdays at 2 Eastern time and every Tuesday. And that being said, we are at episode 25. I'm kind of amazed, actually, because even though I've been wanting to do a weekly podcast or video or show, whatever you want to call it, for quite some time, I kept postponing it and not starting it. And then my amazing coach, Marissa Hunter, just basically kicked my ass and said, just do it. Just do it already. So here we are, 25 episodes in. I have done it. So it's ongoing. It's constantly evolving and turning, becoming, it's finding its way. My intention was to be able to come on and share what thriving looks like for me, what's going on in the studio, what's going on in my life, and to share like ways that I work with my clients as a coach and as a mentor, which is one of the most satisfying aspects of what I do, is being able to hold space for people to sort of explore ideas that they might dance around on their own. And my job is to hold up a mirror for them to see themselves as I get to see them, right? And then in doing so, to realize my printer is making weird noises. So sorry, I thought that was something like a four-legged creature rummaging around down there, but it's not. It's just my printer doing its own adjusting. It's kind of weird, but anyway, as I was saying, one of my greatest pleasures is working as a mentor or as a coach, and reflecting back to people where they were when we started and where they are now, and seeing the progress, noting their own innate wisdom and inner knowing that they're often not even aware that they have, which is so glorious. I love that. And on also helping them set goals, just as my coach did with me. Like I had dreamt about doing this sort of weekly thing, and she kind of helped make me do it. Not in terms of like the details of how to do it or setting it up or anything like that. It's just like holding me to my ambition and basically giving me permission to go for it and even to fail, because in every failure, there's always learning, there's always more mastery gained. So, and that's true like in every aspect of our lives. I found even in painting, for example, right? If I work on a painting and it doesn't come out exactly as I want it to, I get to learn about what didn't quite work for me in that attempt. And then I get to attempt again if I still want to, if I still feel the need to bring that piece as I saw it in my mind, as I wish it to be, into existence, and to bring the learning from my failure to forward and into the new version. I might have to fail a few more times, without nailing it 100%. And then I either get it to that point and I'm satisfied and happy and I can move on to something else. Or it can also happen that I'm like, you know what? I've learned what I needed to learn here and I'm moving on. So it's all okay. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Let's see. So it's already 2:09. Oh my gosh, where is the time going? It's incredible. So I wanted to share with you. Oh wait, so typically on my Thriving Live show, I start with the introduction, which I think I've just done. I kind of told you what the intention was for the Thriving Live show. That happens on Tuesdays at 2 Eastern time. And then what I usually do is next pleasure practice. Pleasure first is always sort of paramount in everything I do. And when I forget, which happens because, I'm human, then I often realize later, like, oh yeah, this, I could take a break and actually take 5 minutes of pleasure, like go outside and go for a walk or lay down for a little rest or read for 5 minutes or study French for half an hour or whatever it is that I want to do that is not necessarily related to my work, right? Although I do find tremendous pleasure in my work as well. And I hope you do too, actually, because then it doesn't feel like work, it feels like play, right? So that's what coaching and mentoring is like for me. That's what making art is for me. It doesn't feel like work. It feels like fun. And actually even all the business aspect of running a business, like the PR, the marketing, the planning, the creating, the curriculum or the program or the whatever it is, the marketing materials, that also is fun for me. I admit though, there are many times when it's not fun for me and it feels like work. It feels like a sloggy kind of work that I don't always enjoy. And then I help counterbalance that by doing something that does give me pleasure, that does make me feel good. And so, there are all these ways that we can balance out the pleasant and the unpleasant aspects of our lives, right? And I would be super curious to hear what your methods are for doing this. So at some point, if you're listening to this and you want to add that into the chat, either on Facebook or on YouTube when it's up there, please go ahead and do that. I would love to hear that. I would love to hear that. And then typically I would go into talking about the topic of the day and then maybe provide a tool of the day. And then if we were live in person or in the same Zoom room even, we would do Q&A. Like my favorite kind of Q&A is that I get to ask you the questions and you provide the answers. And I'm also open for audience questions and I try to provide answers, but I think it's more interesting the other way around. And then we would typically close with what the wind insights and learnings were from the session. So that's the format I use for my workshops and for my client sessions and for my group programs and all of that. And that's what I use here in the Thriving Live show. So next up is the pleasure practice, pleasure first practice. So today, actually, my partner recommended this one today. And I'm just looking at the rain and checking out, making sure it's not coming in the windows and all of that kind of thing. It's all good. So I always advocate having water handy so that you can hydrate yourself. Super important. And over the last, I'd say, not quite a full week, but almost a week, certainly over the whole long weekend, I did not hydrate enough, not nearly enough. Usually I drink like 2 full jars of water every single day, at least that. But I would say probably didn't even drink 1 jar of water a day this past weekend, the long Labor Day weekend, which also happened to be my birthday on the 1st. But I digress. I'm digressing a lot. So I actually want to make a little note here. Copy that. And then I also want to put in a couple of things I want to talk about before I forget. What was the other thing? Oh yeah. Birthday. 55, and then there was something else. Sorry. I want to make sure I share all the things that I was hoping to share. All right, I'll leave this here for now. So for today's pleasure practice, we are going to contract, right? So tighten up, contract muscles, and then release. Contract and release. And we're going to start with our feet today. You can do this sitting or standing. I'm going to do it standing because that's how I like to do these calls. So we're going to start with just feeling yourself in the space in the here and now. Maybe try to relax your shoulders and your jaw and your neck and your whole body. With some slow breaths. All right, so starting with the toes. Scrunch up your toes, contract them. Hold it for a minute. Take a deep breath in. Contract, 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 and then relax and release with your exhale. Now do that with the whole foot. Contract on the inhale, your whole foot. All the muscles and bones and everything in your feet. Contract, 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 and hold. Release the muscles, release the bones, relax everything in your feet. Now we're going to go up into the lower part of the legs, sort of the calves and the shin area and the ankles. So on the inhale, contract all of those muscles in the lower legs. Contract, contract, contract. Relax them, relax the muscles all the way through to your toes, from your lower legs to your toes. And now let's contract the knees. Okay, so contract your knees. Contract, contract, contract. Release, relax your knees. Shake them out a little bit if you want to. You're doing great. All right, so now your thighs. So let's contract the thighs. All right, ready? Contract, contract, contract. Hold. Relax, release, let them go. Excellent. Now your pelvic floor and your butt, your glutes, right? So we're going to contract your whole pelvic floor, okay? Go ahead. Squeeze it all together. Your whole pelvic floor, so that you're holding in everything. And release on the exhale. Release and relax the muscles. Shake out your pelvic floor, rotate it if you want to. Shake your hips. Okay, so now lower abdomen area, okay, and lower back area. Excuse me. On your inhale, contract your lower abdomen and your lower back. Contract, contract, contract. Let it go on the exhale. Oh, excellent. Okay, now up through the torso, up through the whole midsection. I'm going to contract that whole area together. Ready? On the inhale. Contract, contract, contract. And let it all go on your exhale. Allow your body to move however it wants to. If it needs to stretch out or rotate or shimmy or whatever it is, just listen to what your body desires and give it to it. That's one of the main parts of my mentoring, is that it's a somatic process. And this is something that I've learned myself in the last few years, is connecting my awareness to my body sensations, what pleases it, what causes discomfort, what's going on inside, outside, how it's related. If it's related to emotion, it almost always is, how we're holding stress or anxiety or fear or excitement or pleasure, all these things. So that's a key piece to my practice as a coach and a mentor, but also as like just now in my own life for everyday use. I can't recommend it highly enough to get some somatic coaching. Go for it. So helpful. Okay, so now we're going up to sort of the upper rib area, chest area. So we're going to contract on the inhale, that upper section. Muscles and ribs, kind of contract them together. And then relax and let it go on the exhale. Cool. Okay, so now we'll go into our hands. Okay, so contract on the inhale, your hands. Make them really tight. Really contract all your muscles in your hands. Relax them on the exhale. Shake them out if you want to. You're doing great. Okay, so now this part of your arms, right? Contract on the inhale. Hold the muscles tight. Relax on the exhale. And notice while you're doing this, where else you are feeling sensation in your body. Like I noticed in that one, I felt some sensation back in here, which tells me that contraction is happening in other places as well. You know, there are different areas that will respond to different things that are happening. Okay, so upper arms, biceps and triceps and all that. Okay, so contract just the upper parts of your arms. Contract, contract, contract. Relax on the exhale. Cool. All right, so now the whole like shoulders, sort of, yeah, shoulders, back of shoulders, front of shoulders. And you can contract them however you want. I think I'm going to just lift mine up. Hold them tight. Ready? Contract, contract, contract. Release them on the exhale. Great. Now in your throat area, you can contract, sort of hold it tight. Kind of hard to do. I don't know how to do it, but I'm just trying to do it however it seems like. Relax on your exhale. Now our whole head, we're going to like imagine contracting all the muscles and the tensing everything together, right? All around here. Ready on the inhale. Contract, contract, contract. Exhale, relax. Relax your face, relax your jaw, relax your cheeks. Give them a little shake if they feel like they want to still stay in that contracted position. My cheeks are wanting to. And now let's see if we can do the top of the head, okay? I don't know how we're going to contract the top of the head. I've never done it before, but let's give it a shot. All right, so contracting top of the head and the inhale. Contract, contract, contract. Let go on the exhale. Okay. So we did the whole thing. So now allow yourself to move about however you want to kind of shake your whole body out. All the parts of your body have contracted and relaxed. Great. So now we get to move all the body parts, like however they want to move, and loosen up and relax. And so that was pretty fun. How do you feel now? I feel way more connected to my body and to being present here now in front of the computer, live on Zoom in the middle of the Thriving Live show, and really present with like my whole body as a whole organism, instead of just parts that are kind of like demanding my attention. So how is it for you? What has changed, if anything? and drink your water. Okay. So, topics for today include the following. Are you ready? Okay, first thing is, I don't know about you or why it's even, or, well, I don't know how to say this. Let's see. All right, so I just turned 55 on my birthday, which was September 1st. And it was one of my best birthdays, actually. One of my best celebrations. I was with my dearest people. So my partner and also my studio assistants, past and present, which was really super special, as well as some other artist friends, a couple, not many, kept it really, really, really small this time. Partly because a lot of friends that I would have at this little gathering were not around, or were not really the right fit for this particular group. So also among this group of people, most of whom were very young, because they're my assistants, or have been in the past. And then of course, also my son, who's also friendly with them and within the same age range. And we just had such a lovely time. We had like a bonfire and hung out and ate good food, delicious cake, delicious pizza from a place locally, not Baba Louie's right here in town, but down in Sheffield, there's this place called Roberto's. That was really great. And right next door to Roberto's is this very cool little bakery. I can't remember the name of it. I want to say it's like Bacon Bakery, but that seems very strange. Anyway, it's right next door to Roberto's. We had a lovely, lovely time. Why am I telling you that? Oh yeah, because on this birthday, I turned 55. And why is that significant? Other than the fact that it's 5 times of 11. I like those numbers. But that's not really the most significant aspect of turning 55. For me, it's the age that my mother was when she died in 2004. So what that means is that now I'm going to be surpassing her. I'll be older from now out until when I pass. I will always be older than I ever knew her to be. And you know how it is with our sort of our parents, especially. It's like often we sort of look to them to understand different things about life, for better or for worse. Sometimes they are really helpful, sometimes they're not. The point being that I understand that it's pretty common. I don't understand why, but I've learned that it's really common for people to feel really strange about that, about getting to the age where their parent was when the parent moved on, passed away. So yeah, so that was troubling for me, actually. It was really, I was very emotional like the whole week beforehand. And I can tell I'm feeling a little bit emotional about it now as well. And it's just really fascinating to me. I'm not quite sure what more to say about it right now, but it's something I'm exploring. And if you've had this experience or you know anything about it, or you've read some really good articles about it or anything like that, I would love to hear about them. I would love it if you'd put them into the comments section, either on Facebook or on YouTube, where this video will live. Yeah, because I'd really like to hear why it's such a thing for people. And I always love learning about things like that, about myself and so on. So that was one of the topics I wanted to bring up today. That thing about turning the age that a parent was when they passed away and living beyond them in age, I guess. The second thing is I have some really good news. I have finally two, and actually more to come, new prints from Antarctica coming out very, very soon. Two will be on view at a little gallery in Western Massachusetts. It's called Artworks Gallery. It's on Main Street in Ware, Massachusetts. And that show, the exhibition dates are September 24th through October 23rd. And it's a very little place. And what I hear is a really cool little art town. Yeah, so they're open Saturdays and Sundays 1 to 5 or by appointment. So you can go onto their website, which I actually don't have the website right here. But if you wait 1 second, it is, I imagine, on here somewhere. Oh, no, it's not on the announcement card. All right, well, you can look it up. It's Artworks Gallery in Ware, Massachusetts, W-A-R-E. And the show is called WOW, Wild Ornery Women. Also stands for Wiser Overlooked Women. And the curator, Terry Rooney, is a good friend of mine from many, many, many years ago, back when I had Spazi Contemporary Art and Housatonic back in the 90s, I guess. And she puts together some really beautiful, amazing exhibitions. So if you haven't seen her curatorial work, I recommend it. It's really lovely, really fine work. And there are a number of really interesting artists in the show. All women, as you can imagine, intentionally. Let's see, Audrey Anastasi, Anne Burton, Irene Christensen, Rachel Folsom, Mo Ringy-Garu, Alex Hegeler. I don't know how to pronounce these names, so I might be botching them terribly. Lynn Horan, Molly Kellogg, Doris Madsen, Susan Montgomery, Holly Murray, B.Z. Riley, Terry Rooney, Gabrielle Senza, and Belinda Lyons Zucker. Anyway, that's at the Artworks Gallery, 69 Main Street in Ware, Massachusetts, through October 23rd of 2022. The opening reception is happening on Saturday, October 1st, 2 to 4. And as far as I know, I will be there. And if you happen to be in that area, come out for the opening. It would be so cool to see you. So those Antarctica prints that I have coming on metal, there will be 2 in that exhibition. They're 20 by 30. They're going to be so beautiful. Can't wait to see them in real life. They will also be available, or they will soon be available on my website for pre-sale. And you can order one. And I should have that up in the next day or 2, I think. Reach out to me if you're interested. You can always find me on the gram, Gabrielle Senza Studio, or on Facebook, Gabrielle Senza Studio, or maybe Studio Lab 11. Anyway, there are a lot of ways you can reach me. And if you want to email me, it's gabrielle@morepleasureplease.com. Yeah, gabrielle@morepleasureplease.com. Okay, so that was that. I talked about the birthday. I talked about Antarctica prints, that they will soon be available from my website as well for pre-order. And I hope to make some beautiful books about this work and about other work. Oh, the other thing we've been working on in the studio, this has been great, is updating the archive, the artwork archive, which is all online, my archive. And we've put in most of the artwork I've ever created since 1989, I think, maybe even 87 or 88. And Let me just show you something. This is how I used to, I don't know if I've shown this on the show yet before, but this is how I used to, track my artwork. I'd do a little sketch, I'd number them, I put in details about the work, and then I went on to do more, went from yellow paper to white paper, and then also these little sketches, the little thumbnail sketches, right? This is before going digital. And then I designed these cool pages where I could just draw right in like that and get all the details in there. Still love doing those little thumbnails. And sometimes I would even track like how many hours it took me to do the work, or where it's been exhibited and who owns it and all that kind of stuff. So we still do all of that, but check out those little sketches. I think it's so cool. I love it. Anyway, so we've put all of this information up into Artwork Archive on my account there. And now we're putting all the photos in there of the work as we find them in my studio, which is quite a process, as you can imagine. So that's very exciting. So it'll be this beautiful sort of archive of all my work, as well as there will be a section of work that's still available that I have in the studio or that's out in exhibitions or whatever. Excuse me. So that's pretty exciting stuff right there. And my VIP Patron Club is up and live in 2 locations. Okay, so there's the Patreon account in Patreon land, which I'm sure you've heard about by now, where you can support artists for $1, $3, $5 a month, and it's just automatically deducted. And then I started, so I have that happening over on Patreon. And then I also set up a higher end VIP program on my Ko-fi site, which is ko-fi.com/Gabrielle Senza. And yeah, I discovered that, so there's monthly membership offering there. You can also make a one-time support contribution to support the creative activism I do, the artwork I do, the mentoring I do, all those kinds of things. And there's also, I just learned that you can also commission works. So I'll be setting that up so you could actually commission me to do a work based on a particular scale, or to print a print of an image at a certain scale, that kind of commission. Custom things too, we can talk about. And then I think there's room for me to set up a shop there, which is pretty exciting, which will be linked to my website, of course. And there were some other things there, I can't remember now, that I got very excited about learning that exist. It's a great platform. And they don't take really anything from the artist the way that Patreon or other organizations do. So there's that. I think there was one more piece of news from the studio I wanted to share with you. Oh yeah, it's it was a LinkedIn article that my partner Dan Ruderman posted in LinkedIn, and it's about walking unafraid. And he spoke about the kits that I created with the Walk Unafraid empowerment tape and the sort of the intention of Walk Unafraid to support creative activists who are helping to support and build community and engage people in issues that are really important in their communities. So I was really thrilled about that, and that he mentioned it and he talked about it, and really moved by some of the responses that the article was getting. People were really moved by the idea. They loved the visuals. Unfortunately, I don't have a roll of tape handy right now, but if you go to walkunafraid.org, walkunafraid.org, you can see the empowerment tape, how it's been used. And actually, there's even a page there, I think under shop, where it can be purchased. It can be purchased for individuals. It can be purchased for groups. It can be purchased for community youth centers. It can be purchased for libraries. Some of the libraries have actually ordered it, and they make it available to their members. What do you call them? Library constituents. They can check it out, and they can make installations either in their homes with the work to remind them to walk unafraid, or to inspire others to walk unafraid or stand for something they really believe in. So anyway, I was really touched by like the kinds of comments and enthusiasm there was to the article about walk unafraid. So that's really exciting. It's not something I often talk about on this page. For a variety of reasons, probably the biggest one is my neurodivergent brain, which doesn't always do that well with linear thinking and you know, hitting all the points or whatever, staying on track. So that's why I often am flying by the seat of my pants, which I am proud of the fact that I can do that. And I am often frustrated by it as well, because sometimes it seems like things could just be simpler if my brain sort of operated the way other people's brains do, but it doesn't. So I just do the best I can. If you can relate, you know, put an emoji in the comments, or a thumbs up, or a heart, or something. Anyway, I would love to know your own what your experience is like. Okay, topics of the day. Did that, check. So I do have my little checklist for the show, for the exact reason I just told you. So that's that part. And what else do I have for you? Let's see. Checking my notes here. Let's see. I guess now we're on to the tool of the day, which I have not planned for you yet, but if you want to bear with me, we'll see what happens. Maybe something will come to me, and it is meant to be offered to you for that. So let's see. I'm just putting in those things. What tool for the day could we use? I just want to go to pleasure again. Okay, so tool for the day, if you have not already done this, I highly recommend 2 lists. Okay, I've talked about this in other episodes. Make a list of things that bring you pleasure, that you like to do, that give you pleasure. So it could be a nap. It could be dinner with a friend. It could be going for a walk. It could be painting. It could be writing. It could be reading. You know, it could be any number of things that you don't have to do, right? It does sometimes, that's my phone making weird sound, but it does sometimes feel good when we do the things that we need to do, that we're expected to do, that we have to do in order to, you know, for our lives to function, like pay bills. I actually love paying bills, but I wouldn't necessarily put that on my list of pleasant things that bring me pleasure. Even though, honestly, I do get pleasure out of paying bills. I especially get pleasure out of the automatic bill paying system that happens in my bank, so that then I don't also get late charges, because with this lovely neurodivergent brain I have, I often don't know what day it is. And sometimes I don't even know what time it is, as we noted today, because I started late, thinking I still had like 10 minutes to go. So I would not put on the list. I don't advise putting on the list things that you sort of have to do. If, for example, going to yoga class or taking a class that you opted to take, not because you have to, but because you wanted to, because your curiosity led you there, or the way you feel after you do it is pleasurable and like gets the endorphins going and the serotonin and all that good stuff, then yes, put it on your list. And yeah, so have your pleasure, your list of things that bring you pleasure. That's a really good thing to have in times when you want to start your day with pleasure first, right? Or you want to access some elevated state of pleasure before going into the sort of have-tos of your day, you know, the meetings or the reports or the dinner making, if that doesn't thrill you, whatever the thing is that, you know, you're not like super excited to do because you have to do it and you don't get a lot of pleasure out of it, precede it with something that gives you pleasure. Even if it's just 2 minutes or 5 minutes, 5-minute meditation, a rest, a reading of something. I try to stay away from the screens because it's so easy to get sucked into that. I can't believe how easy it is for an hour to go by without even realizing it, just scrolling through Instagram or something. So I don't advise that as your pleasure practice. Although my son did used to have a section, I think it was a Pinterest board or something like that, where he had put things that make him happy in an album that he could look at when he was stressed. And that would help him rebalance his emotions and, you know, kind of regulate his system when he was feeling anxious or really emotionally wound up. So yeah, so, you know, he used a screen for that. But if you can avoid it, I would recommend it. It's no surprise. The other thing, so the tool is your pleasure list. Okay. Pleasure list. And a celebrations list. So what I mean by that, oh wait. So the celebrations list is similar to the pleasure list, but it's a little different. It's because the pleasure list is about sort of giving you fuel for doing the things that need to get done in your day, right? So like to give you some access to pleasure at any point throughout the day. That's the pleasure list. I mean, it could even be just, you know, giving yourself a hug or a massage, a little massage, right? A celebrations list could be more like, what can you put on a list that you can use to celebrate your accomplishments, even your little wins, okay? So for example, let's say the task is to get your quarterly taxes prepared, or prepare your taxes, you know, at the end of the year. That takes a lot of effort, right? So what will you do to celebrate yourself once you've accomplished that, once you've gotten that done? It could be a massage, right? Not just a good squeeze for 5 minutes of yourself, or a little pleasure practice in the bedroom, or, some intimacy with your lover or something like that, or with yourself. But more like, how do I mark the completion of this and celebrate that I did it? And obviously, you wouldn't do it for every single little task, like, oh, I made dinner tonight, I'm going to celebrate myself, right? No, I'm talking about things that are like challenging for you to do, and required you to sort of stretch past your comfort zone, right? For some of us, that could mean going to a social event where you don't know anyone, and you know that it's going to serve you because, I don't know, maybe it's a business networking event and you can make great connections, or it's or even like an anonymous 12-step program, right? Like uh what was it, Codependence Anonymous. Like somebody recommended that, or I heard about it somehow and found one in Northampton many years ago, and I went to one and it was lovely. Did I want to go? No. Was it easy for me to go? No. Was it a good thing that I went? Absolutely. Did I continue to go? Yes. Yeah. So I could have been like, okay, for going for the first time, or even going each time, I could have just rewarded myself with an ice cream or a bath or anything, right? Like, but especially for doing the real stretchy, uncomfortable bit the first time. Because I don't know about you, but for me, for years, everything I did, every accomplishment I did, never in my mind counted for anything. Like, that thing I did, yeah, well, compared to this, it's nothing, right? This thing I did, yeah, okay, that was cool, yeah. And like my sights were always way higher than the things that I had already accomplished, and I never gave myself any credit or appreciation for even taking those first steps, and getting the first solo show in New York City, getting my second solo show in New York City, having the first project in a museum. Like, at a certain point, I was like, wait, when does it start counting? When do I start acknowledging that it actually matters and that it's not simple? That is not like, it's not nothing. Like, I was just like, oh, it's nothing. It's nothing. And then I realized, like, it's not nothing. It's not something that every single person is doing easily all the time. And like, you know what I mean? And it wasn't nothing for me to actually do it. Like, it actually was hard. Like, I really stretched. It was really uncomfortable to like reach out to museums or galleries and say, would you be interested in looking at my work? And then have them say no, and have them say yes, or have, you know what I mean? Like, it was hard. So I've learned from not just my own experience. Well, I didn't really learn it from my own experience, because I just continued doing that for such a long time. It was really from like maybe coaches or even therapists, or both, that were encouraging me, teaching me. And I want to pass this along to you. Acknowledge every step, every stretch beyond the comfort zone, every small and big task that moves you towards your goal, towards your dream, because those steps matter. Because if you don't take those steps, you're never going to get there, right? It's just not going to magically happen for you out of the blue, right? So those tiny steps, those tiny baby steps that move you in that direction, that you actually get yourself to do, you get yourself to take that step, and then the next step, and the next step. That's what gets you. closer to your dream. And not only that, it also signals to the universe, that this is your plan, your goal, and your dream, and you are also taking steps towards making it happen, right? And inviting, asking, requesting, however you want to put it, asking the universe to support you in that. And when the universe sees you, I'm using this language because that's what I have. When it sees you moving in that direction, it's saying, oh, yes, it's true. They really do want that. They're even going in that direction, right? Because it's one thing if you say, I really want this to happen. I really want to have a solo show in New York City in a gallery in Soho, or Chelsea, or wherever it is, right? It's one thing to say that and want it and desire it. But what if you never make the paintings? What if you never get them photographed so that they look professionally photographed, even if you have to figure it out how to do that yourself? What if you never send those images to the galleries for them to see? I mean, this is how I did it in the 90s. So I don't think it would be done like this nowadays, but I'm just saying, like those steps, you know? Or for example, what if you want to learn how to speak French fluently, right? But you never pick up a French language book, or take a, download a course, or listen to, I mean, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff on YouTube now. Of course, you can learn anything for practically free or 100% free just on YouTube. So it's one thing to say, like, this is what I want to do, and just sit back and wait for it to happen. I see artists do this all the time. They make their art, they're expecting to be discovered. They live up in North Egremont or something, or Egremont. I guess there isn't a North Egremont anymore, but they live in Egremont or where, Massachusetts, or wherever, it doesn't matter. But no one's seeing their work. How would they ever get discovered if no one's seeing their work? Besides, it's not how it happens. It just doesn't. So what are the small steps we can take to get ourselves, our goals, to get closer to our goals, to have our dreams come true? As long as we're moving even the smallest way in that direction, we are ahead of the doing nothing, right? When we do nothing, it tells the universe, oh, they're not willing to do anything for this, so they must actually want something else, So I hope that makes sense. And so the celebrations list, I would include small ways to celebrate yourself, as well as big ways to celebrate yourself. So for example, let's say, you get I'm going to use doing your taxes again, right? So filing your taxes, getting all the work done for that, getting them filed, and then, I don't know, making yourself your favorite meal, or getting a massage, or taking a lovely, lovely walk the next day, or something like that. Some way to sort of celebrate and mark that you've acknowledged this task being completed, right? Like, reward yourself for that. Another one could be celebrating with friends, like, oh, I'm going to have a lovely dinner party when my company breaks, $500,000 sales, or something like that. Or when I've sold X amount of work. I don't know, whatever it is. But anyway, make your list of small ways to celebrate and big ways to celebrate. Buy yourself flowers if that pleases you. You could reward yourself with, something special that helps you feel good. So I don't know. So the difference, I hope it makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know in the chats. The difference between the pleasure list, which helps fuel you for the work ahead and for the day ahead, and also your celebrations list, how you celebrate the small things and the big things. It could also, you know, just acknowledging yourself and saying, great job, me. I did that thing. It wasn't easy and I did it and it's done. So how cool is that? Now I'm going to, you know, read a book for an hour, or go join up with some friends, or take a walk, or jump in a hot tub, or whatever it is. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Tools of the day, we did it. Pleasure list, celebration lists. There's no one on live here to ask questions or for me to ask questions of, so we're going to skip the Q&A's time and the wins, insights, and learnings. However, if you're watching this, I would love for you to post in the comments any wins, insights, or learnings you've had, any kind of aha moments or like key takeaways that you got from today's session. And I thank you for being here. It means a lot to me for you to be watching the Thriving Live show. This is episode 25, and it is the 6th of September, 2022. And this is an ongoing, evolving, creative process, and who knows where it's headed. I can tell you that I don't. And I would love to hear your thoughts about what you think about the show, about what you'd like to see, any questions that have come up, or anything like that. Okay, so I bid you farewell for today. I send you so much love and appreciation. I am super proud of you for being here and for opening up your heart, spending some time with me, and I hope to see you again soon. Ciao.